Welcome to Call to Be a Voice. My name is Carolyn Cofield. In the mid-1960s, I remember watching a TV sitcom program called That Girl. The main character was played by Marlo Thomas, who portrayed an aspiring actress from Brewster, New York, who moves to New York City to seek stardom. It was the first sitcom focused on a single woman who purposely went after her dreams and aspirations. She found herself trying to balance life between temporary jobs, auditions, and a social life with a new boyfriend. Each episode began with some odd whodunit incident happening, yet singling out Marlo as that girl. Diamonds, daisies, snowflakes, that girl. Chestnuts, raindrops, springtime, it's that girl. She's tinsel on a tree. She's everything that every girl should be. Even the words to the theme song made every young girl want to be that girl. By the world standard, that girl was someone who was picture perfect, with Maybelline flawless skin, America's top model, an entertainer, a talk show celebrity. You get the picture. But by God's standards, what would the profile of that girl really look like? For sure, it would be completely different from TV, seeing that man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. Here's a picture of one who God chooses. She was a young girl who lived in a small village called Nazareth. Her name was Mary, and she was probably only a teenager when the angel Gabriel came to her. She had recently become engaged to a carpenter named Joseph. Mary was an ordinary Jewish girl looking forward to marriage. Suddenly, her life would be changed forever. Mary was fearful and troubled in the presence of an angel. She could never have expected to hear the incredible news that she would have a child. Her son would be called Jesus, the Messiah, the Anointed One. Although she could not comprehend how she could conceive the Savior, she responded to God with belief and obedience. God knew that Mary was a woman of rare strength and rare confidence, and even rare obedience. Mary also knew the scriptures. When the angel appeared and told her the baby would be God's son, she simply replied, "I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said." She knew of the Old Testament prophecies about the coming Messiah. Her calling would not include a contract for TV series or endless interviews, but it would demand sacrifice and suffering. She trusted God by faith, and she answered the call. The angel told Mary in Luke 1:28 that she was highly favored by God. This phrase simply meant that Mary had been given much grace or unmerited favor from God. See, when it comes to favor and God's grace, we don't earn it, we can't work for it, and we don't deserve it. But even with God's favor, Mary would still suffer much. Though she would one day be highly favored as the mother of the Savior, she would first know disgrace as an unwed mother. She would nearly lose her fiancé Joseph, and later her beloved son would be rejected and cruelly murdered on the cross. She was the only human being to be with Jesus throughout his entire life, from his birth until his death. She gave birth to him as her baby, and then she watched him die as her Savior. Yes, Mary's submission to God's plan would cost her dearly. Yet she was willing to be God's servant, God's handmaiden. See, other women, females, mothers, daughters, young girls, just like Mary, may have also known the scriptures. Other women had heard, but like Mary, they didn't know how or when the Christ child would be born. They just knew that it would be the seed of the woman who would crush the head of the enemy. Women wanted to marry, have children, if for no other reason than to be barren and to be childless was considered a curse. Every woman wanted to be that girl. Yet it was Mary, a young, poor virgin girl, who was chosen. These qualities may have been undesirable in the eyes of other people to be used singly, mightily of God. However, God looked upon the quality of her trust and obedience. He knew she would willingly serve him in one of the most important callings ever given to a human being. Just like Mary, God looks at our obedience and trust, usually not the qualifications that others might look upon. There was only one Mary chosen to be that girl, but even today, God still chooses to use the most unlikely of choices. If you know Jesus as Savior and Lord, know that we didn't choose him, but out of all he could have made choice of, he chose you and me. This is Sister C, praying that you experience life and that more abundantly.